Alright, so this is a review for the expander quiz tomorrow. So the first sentence reads, as I walked into the store, the man graciously opened the door for me. So the first thing I have to do is I have to look for any expanders. First thing. So the first one I see is graciously. So I'm going to ask myself, what is this telling me? Is this telling me how I am doing something, or is this telling me when I'm doing something? So graciously is telling me how I am doing something. So you have to make sure that you write on one of the lines of the triangle the type of expander. The next one I see is as I walked into the store. So I'm going to say to myself, this is one of those so I have to be careful because as can be a how and it can be a when. So I have to ask myself, is this expander telling me how I'm doing something, or is it telling me when I'm doing something? So as I read it, as I walk into the store, it's telling me when I did something. So then I'm going to ask myself, okay, what did I do graciously? All right, so the thing, or who did something graciously? So the predicate would be opened. And then I say to myself, who or what opened something graciously? Who was doing the opening? It was the man. All right, so in this particular sentence, there are two expanders. And if you notice, there's a comma right here because that's following that rule. 4 or more words with an expander at the beginning of a sentence, you need a comma. Number 2. While I was trying to watch my favorite TV show, my brother repeatedly mimicked the characters on the show as if he were an actor himself. Once again, I'm getting out all my expanders. So one of the things that you can do is, if you're struggling, is think about the starter words and look to see if there are any starter words in the sentence. So one starter word I notice is while. All right? So I have to say to myself, okay, so what's the whole expander? So it's while I was trying to watch my favorite TV show. That's the whole expander. So I'm making a triangle. And that is telling me when I am doing something. One other expander I notice is an ly. But you also have to be careful. Just because a word ends in ly does not mean it's an expander. Okay? Because there are imposters out there. You know what an imposter is? An imposter is pretending to be somebody that he's not. So, for example, the word holy, that just happens to be a word that ends in ly. It's not an expander. It's not telling me how. So you have to ask yourself, is this telling me how? So repeatedly, yeah, it's telling me how somebody did something. So once again, I'm going to put a triangle, and it's telling me how. I also noticed the word as, which I know is another starter word. So I'm going to ask myself, okay, is this an expander? As if he were an actor himself. So it's that, once again, is telling me how somebody is doing something. All right, and I don't see any more expanders. So I'm going to ask myself, okay, what did they do repeatedly? And what did he do as if he were an actor himself? So my predicate is mimicked. Who or what mimicked? The subject is brother. Number 3, the boy's temper was like a volcano whenever anybody mentioned his parents' divorce. All right, so I noticed, once again, I'm going to think about the starter words. I see like. I'm going to say, okay, is that an expander, or is that word like just happen to be in the sentence? So it says like a volcano. That is definitely an expander. It's telling me how he did something. Actually, you know what? Hold on. Actually, guys, we're not going to do this sentence. It's too complicated. Yeah, it's not. Okay. Number 4. After Jen finished eating the apple, she smacked her lips together like two cymbals. All right. I see in this one another like. Like two cymbals. That's an expander. Tell me how. After Jen finished eating the apple. That's another one. And that's telling me when. Okay, so I'm going to say to myself, what is she doing like two cymbals? Or what is whoever's doing after she finished eating? So the predicate is smacked. And then who or what is smacking? She is the subject. All right, so your quiz is tomorrow. You're going to have to, once again, just like I said to you yesterday, you are going to have to know the following. For those of you who weren't here, pay attention. You have to know how to diagram. You have to memorize starter words. Okay? There were 5 when ones that I told you how to memorize. You have to know the comma rules. You have to know how to revise the structure of an expander. Like, so for example, remember I talked about subject predicate. I is always the beginning. I went to the store. I bought ice cream. I really love going to the store. That's really bad sentence structure. Okay, revised structure of sentences. And I believe that is all that will be on the quiz. Okay, so that is tomorrow.